Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. By now you all know me, but if not, my name's Mario. I put out videos primarily on clinical research, and this is going to be a clinical research video. And in this video, I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to go through a comment that I deleted that was left on one of my videos. I didn't think the comment had too much merit, but there are some things I want to cover. You'll figure out from the comment itself why I deleted it. And then I want to hop onto Reddit. I did a quick preview, and there's a lot of questions on there about, is being a CRA worth it? So those are the two things that I'm going to address. I'm going to go through this comment, tell you what I think of it, and then hop onto Reddit and take 2 or 3 questions from there, focused on if being a CRA is worth it and what exactly is being asked. So before I get started, as always, I need to remind you to please smash that like button and to subscribe to my channel. The channel is now at almost 800 subscribers, well on our way to that 1,000 subscriber mark. So thank you all for your support. So I need to give you context before I read this comment. I put out a video on CRA salaries, and in the video I said that in order to become a CRA, you need at least 1 year of research experience, preferably 2, to jump into the CRA role, and the CRA role traditionally is not an entry-level position. So the best way into the CRA role, and you'll hear this from every CRA YouTuber, is either becoming a clinical research coordinator, becoming a clinical trials associate, or becoming an in-house CRA. Those are your best ways into becoming a clinical research associate and going out into the field and monitoring. So in response, this comment was left by Desai for Life, and those of you that don't know, Desai is a designation used for people of Indian, Pakistani, or Bangladeshi origin. It's kind of an interesting history to the term, but I won't bore you with the details of that. I will just jump straight into the comment. So the comment starts, "This guy have no clue what he is talking about." All right, so that's a good start. So the next sentence, "I am also IMG, for those of you that know, International Medical Graduate, and I started as research assistant and ended up CRA within 1 year." All right, so that's exactly what I said in my video, that you should get 1 year of research experience, preferably 2, and then you can hop into the CRA role. In fact, the research job was part-time first. I didn't say anything about part-time or full-time, so I don't know what relevance that has, but all right, let's continue on. "Remember one thing, that medical knowledge is precious in clinical research." We are in agreement. "And you will always have leverage over other CRAs due to robust medical background. FDA must regulate the field, and medical graduates who are not practicing physicians must be on top of their academic background needed to be CRA or other clinical trial managers. Most CRAs have no clue about medicine." All right, so I'm going to stop there and pause. So there is the thing that we're completely in agreement about. In order to be a CRA, you need to know about medicine. You need to know about the field you're monitoring. And I stress this in so many of my videos, that if you are monitoring a disease area you don't know that well, invest the time, learn the standard of care, learn common procedures that are done, learn common imaging, learn all the basics of that disease area. Because the last thing you want to do is go into a site initiation visit, especially, and have the PI ask you basic questions and then you don't know the basics of the disease. This is the worst thing that can happen to a CRA at an SIV. You might not know all the specifics of your protocol, but if they ask about a basic imaging technique that's used for that disease commonly, or they use about a routine test, for example, if you're monitoring prostate cancer studies, you need to know about PSAs and prostate-specific antigens. You need to know the basics of that disease, whatever you're monitoring. So my recommendation, if it's not a disease area you're familiar with, go on YouTube, watch the conferences. All the medical conferences pretty much are available on YouTube. Go to a lot of the basic videos, Khan Academy, whatever, and learn the basics of the disease. Spend a lot of time on that. You do want to show that you have the medical knowledge. And the more on top of your medical knowledge you are, the better you will be as a CRA. I have found this immensely helpful. I'm very familiar with laboratory tests that are done in oncology. I'm familiar with RECIST, I'm familiar with mRECIST, I'm familiar with iRECIST, I'm familiar with TNM staging, I'm familiar with most of the imaging done in disease areas that I've worked in, familiar with the genetic testing. I know of things like ALK genes, various other genes that may or may not be expressed in diseases. So you can have something like lung cancer with ALK positive genes. Some protocols look at that. You just know your area, and we are in full agreement. You need to be on top of your medical game. Where we are in complete disagreement is his last sentence that I read. Most CRAs have no clue about medicine. I cannot agree with this. I have worked with tons and tons and tons of CRAs. Yes, absolutely, there are CRA ones especially that don't know a ton about medicine. This is true. I won't argue with that. But generally, by the time you're a senior CRA, you're going to know your disease area, whether you want to or not. You're going to be around the disease area. You're going to hear about all the tests. You're going to passively learn. Obviously, actively learning is a lot better, but you will have some knowledge. Saying that they have that CRAs have no clue about medicine is just not accurate at all. All right, so let's move on. I find that disturbing since too much stake is on the line. Okay, I think he means that the opposite way around, but too much stake is on the line. All right. I would agree with this sentiment if it was true. If the majority of CRAs knew nothing about medicine, I would be very, very, very concerned. I'd be reporting that all the way up to the FDA and doing extensive complaining about the CRA, saying that every CRA I've worked with has no clue about medicine. The FDA should be doing investigations of these people, should really be monitoring clinical trials, and escalate it up and up and up the chain and say so. Now, as the coordinator, I have run into this. So I have run into CRAs that were not knowledgeable coming and monitoring. I reported it to the sponsor, to the trial manager, to the teams, and normally what we would ask for is just a different CRA. We would say that the CRA you've sent us doesn't have a ton of knowledge in the disease area. We would prefer not to work with this person. Can you send us another CRA? So that does happen. It's just not as prolific as I get the sense that this person feels it is. All right, so when I worked as research assistant, I was running INH NCI funded oncology clinical trials at a very few selected INH funded hospital network. And trust me, even CRA with 10 years of experience will fail. All right, there's a lot of doom and gloom in this. So people don't know a lot, 10 years of experience, you're going to fail. Now, I'm hoping what my channel is doing is not leading you down this kind of thought process. What I'm trying to do here on YouTube is encourage you to become a CRA if this feels of interest to you. I think if you've made it 10 years as a CRA, you probably haven't failed. There are people that skid by. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but the vast majority of CRAs are hardworking. They're medically knowledgeable. They're working with their sites. They're working with their project teams, and they are working to the goal of getting their product to market. That is what the vast majority of CRAs are doing. So that is my take on this. So the only reason I was able to do it only because medical background and transition to CRA so quickly. I still kind of miss the patient interaction though. All right, so two things here. He does end with patient interaction, and I will say if you're used to a lot of patient interaction, the CRA role as a field monitor is not ideal. We have very minimal, if any, patient contact. I have met patients that are on trials that I've worked on here and there, but this is not common by any means. So you will have a little bit of patient interaction at best, but probably close to no patient interaction. So we're fully in agreement. If it is one of the things I actually miss from being a coordinator, where I had some patient interaction. So for those of you that don't know my background, I was working for 3 years in total as a pediatric oncology clinical research coordinator, and I really do miss the kids and getting to see them and play with them in the playroom. And really, that interaction as much is not common as a CRA as much. So we are full agreement. Now, the thing that I don't agree with is what his other statement is. He said the only reason he did this so quickly in 1 year, which is what I said was pretty standard, is because of his medical background. Now, 1 year is on the quicker end of the spectrum, but 1 year is really doable, especially for someone that has a foreign medical degree. So they have the medical knowledge, they're just learning the research in the 1 year. Plus, in the current CRA market, you could probably get into a bridge program with 1 year of coordinator experience. This wasn't true back in my day. Back if you were trying to apply for CRA positions in 2008, good luck getting in with 1 year of experience. But now it's actually rather commonplace. So I hope you found my breakdown of that comment helpful. There's a lot of people that are going to tell you that you will fail for no real good reason. Basically, what this comment came down to is, I'm an international medical graduate. I know a lot. I could do things quickly, and people that are CRAs for 10 years can fail. That was not helpful. So that is why I deleted the comment. I don't really care that the guy started off with, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and then proceeded to give the exact same advice that I gave. It's really the value that I feel that you get. So if you read the comment section, I'm trying to leave up things that I think are of value if you read them. So feel free to ask questions and feel free to make valuable comments, especially if you have prior CRA experience and you think you can be helpful to others. Please do leave those comments. All right, so on to part 2, which is me hopping onto Reddit. Sorry, I'm doing that in the background here. And I will get to some of the threads that I was talking about as I browse. I'd really only read the titles, so just bear with me for a second here. All right, so this is titled, "Look Forward to Become a CRA, though some posts make me doubt this decision." Hello, everyone. I've started a master's degree to become a CRA, Europe. At very first, I thought this was a passionating career. I think that's not a word, but all right, let's continue. High wages, way better than basic research, and was more or less straightforward career. Though I've been reading a lot of posts regarding the specific position, what scares me the most is that people are simply burned out due to high pressure and stress generated. Toxic environments, way too many hours, abusive bosses, etc. Are some of the reasons I left basic research, okay? I do not handle stress that well due to previous work experiences. I'm even scared that I screwed up so bad that I end unemployed. What are your opinions? Is stress in this field so bad? If so, what other options within the industry are less stressful but have a decent pay? Any recommendations are highly appreciated. All right, so this person's in Europe, and I will say I am based in the US, so I only know about being a CRA in Europe through Reddit and YouTube, but I don't have firsthand experience as a CRA in Europe, but presumably it's going to be similar to the US. In the sense that you need to be familiar with ICH-GCP, you're dealing with the same stress of deadlines, etc. I have said this in numerous videos, and this is going to be the same to this person. The best way to find out whether or not you like being a CRA, for better or worse, is to try being a CRA. My recommendation is test it out for a year, decide if it's something you want to do long term, decide if it's something you don't like. That CRA experience, even if you don't like being a CRA, will be valuable as you move into clinical trial management, potentially into CRA line management, into an associate director role, all of those things. The best people that I've worked with in my career have some CRA experience, and some don't even have that much CRA experience. Some of them were CRAs for less than a year, but they have that understanding of the CRA role. And I think that's valuable. Now, in terms of stress, it depends on what you consider stressful. Now, I can give you examples of some of the stress that I faced. I have to do a visit that I can't seem to fit into my schedule. This visit needs to be done ASAP, but with the days I already have for other visits, getting it in is very stressful because I don't have the capacity to take on this particular visit. Now, is that something that's like life or death stress? No, I'll fit in that visit when I can. It might be out of compliance with the clinical monitoring plan, but I can only do what I can do based on site availability and my availability. We'll write up that it was outside the clinical monitoring plan, and we'll do what's associated with that. The other big stress for CRAs is something called database lock and dealing with all the monitoring, especially if it's 100% SDV. That's needed to get all the data monitored prior to a database lock can be extremely stressful because you might have to go out to various sites, etc. The good news for a lot of clinical research and a lot of CRAs is more and more and more sites, especially since the pandemic, are able to do some amount of remote visits, and this is super helpful. It just has to be written into the monitoring plan that it's allowed and that it's okay per your company SOPs to do remote visits. And this can be helpful to alleviate some of that stress of having to get on site. Unfortunately, this is not ubiquitous, and there are sites that still require you to come on site. So let me talk to some of the other points in this. Toxic environments. Unfortunately, there are toxic environments in every position, so that really is dependent on your company and has nothing to do with being a CRA or not. Way too many hours. Yes, CRAs work a lot of hours. It is Saturday. I have some trainings I want to do. I have a report that I want to do this weekend. I still need to do my timesheet. So you're going to work some on weekends. You have two choices. So I know a lot of my coworkers don't work at all on weekends, but then they work a lot during the work week. So they're doing 10 plus hours a day trying to keep up so that they don't have to work on the weekends. I prefer to stray closer to that 8 hour and then just carry over a couple of hours into the weekend. I don't really care that much about working 2-3 hours on a Saturday or Sunday. But some people do, and especially if you have a family or you're trying to do other things, you may really not want to work. But there's that flexibility. But yes, CRAs work a lot of hours. The only way I've found to really control that is to become a contract CRA. Some contracts will cap your hours, and as a contract CRA, you have some flexibility in taking part-time roles, etc., where you may not work as much. I don't know how common that is in Europe. That is in the United States. So just take that advice with a grain of salt. Contract CRAs may not be big in Europe. I actually don't know. I do not handle stress that well due to previous work experiences. I'm even scared that I screw up so bad and end up unemployed. In my experience, this is not a bad thing. Like I said, you can test the role for a year. It gives you a good background to try other things, and you just say, I don't like being a CRA. So my advice, go try it for a year. The next one I'm going to read is just below this here. Is anybody happy in their role? I'm about to make the switch from the laboratory into clinical operations, and I'm curious if anybody is happy in their role and actually enjoys the work. It seems like all of the posts I've read have been negative reviews about overwhelming work and pressure. I hope I'm not making the wrong choice by switching career paths and just trying to see the role from both sides. So my take on this, again, is to try it and test it out, see if you like it. In terms of, is anybody happy in clinical research? Yes, I am pretty happy in clinical research. There is one caveat. So I will mention that the thing that over the course of my career that I've struggled with all the travel that I've done, is really setting roots somewhere. So things like dating or making friends have been very challenging because I'm gone all the time. So that has been the one aspect of my life that's been very challenging as a CRA. But in terms of the job's a lot of fun. You get paid to go to places. Now, granted, these may not be the most exciting places. They might be places like Bastrop, Louisiana, and 99% of you have never heard of Bastrop, Louisiana. And if you're in that 1% that has, I don't know why, but places like that that aren't close to a major airport can be really challenging to get to, and are not really tourist destinations. So you're getting paid to go travel the country. On the flip side, I've seen places that very few people have seen, because most people don't go to places like that for vacation. There's a lot of fun to this role. I really love learning about the way research is moving forward, new treatments, new products that are coming to market, all the different things. The CRA role is tons and tons and tons of fun. Now, take that with the other side. There's going to be a lot of stress. There's going to be a lot of deadlines. There's going to be a lot of people asking you a lot of questions. There's going to be sites reaching out to you, clinical teams reaching out to you, etc. But in the end of the day, what you're doing is valuable, and I love the role. So yes, I'm very happy with that one caveat. So in retrospect, I probably would not have stayed a CRA for as long as I have. I would have moved to a role with less travel. Potentially some of the lead CRA roles have less travel. Clinical trial managers do almost no travel, and then CRA line managers do about 25% travel is what I've seen for most CRA line manager type roles. They're required to go out with their CRA reports potentially once or twice a year. So depending how many people you have, you will go out on their site visits and evaluate them. Those are things that I, in retrospect, would have transitioned to much earlier. I am currently in my 14th year of monitoring. I have said since the beginning of my career that I probably could manage this for 15 years. So that gives me one more year and to think about what I'm going to do longer term. But that is a pretty long career. So I'm happy in my role. I wouldn't have started a YouTube channel to talk about the CRA position if it wasn't something that I truly enjoyed. All right, I'm going to go through one final question here. And let's see, I kind of want it to be on the same vein of people asking about the role. So let's go through a few more. Looking to get into clinical research field. All right, so this is going to be the last question that I go through here, and let's see if this is any good. Any advice for someone looking to get into the field? I'm a stay-at-home mom returning to the workforce with no industry experience. I have some Coursera training in data management and clinical research, GCP cert, a BA in communication studies, and prior experience in customer service, but that's it. I hope to get to RSM or CRA one day. What should I be doing to increase my chances of getting into an entry-level position? Thank you. All right, this is the question that I will finish up on. This is kind of where I started with. There are three great paths into becoming a clinical research associate. Remember, a clinical research associate is not an entry-level role. Most people who come into this role have prior experience, and the three best ways to get it are first, the clinical research coordinator. Look for jobs that say CRC1. This is a designation that it's an entry-level position. So if you see something that says CRC1, you are good to apply with no experience. For those kind of interviews, I would recommend just looking up the type of facility you're going to. So are you going to an academic center? What type of trials do they run? Just learn some basics about the disease area where the trials are being done. So if you go into oncology, just know a little bit about oncology, know what a phase 1 trial is, what a phase 2 trial is, what a phase 3 trial is. Just know some of those basic concepts. You don't need to know a ton. This is an entry-level position. They're assuming you have no knowledge, and sound excited. If it is helpful, and I don't know how many people here are applying to coordinator roles, that I don't know if I have that viewership, but I could put out a video similar to what I have for the CRA interview for a coordinator interview. If that's of interest to you, let me know down in the comments. I can pretend to be someone with no experience interviewing for a coordinator role. If that's a video you'd like to see, let me know. So that is one option, the CRC1. The other option is the clinical trial associate. And these are common both in the sponsor side and in the CRO side. Um, Probably a little easier to get in on the CRO side, but if you look up clinical trial associate or clinical trial assistant potentially, and it'll say again CTA 1, they usually will have the designation 1 that it's entry level. Those roles don't require any prior experience. What they do varies from place to place. So you might be more involved in contracts budgets, in getting things through legal, in filing things in the TMF or the trial master file. That role can vary from place to place, but that is great experience to transition into an RSM or CRA role. The final role is an in-house CRA, and I recommend in-house CRA to people that aren't sure that they ever want to become field monitors, because for most in-house CRAs, you have the option to transition pretty easily into a clinical trial management type role. I am a big advocate of becoming a in-house CRA, then getting 1 or 2 years of field monitoring experience and then making the transition. But most places that hire in-house CRAs have some path to getting to trial management or project management without ever becoming a field CRA. So that is an option. Those, in my opinion, are the 3 best things you could be looking at with no prior experience. Once you get to that 1, 2-ish year range of experience in those roles, you can start looking into the field monitoring position. All right, I can talk forever, but I'm going to end this video here. One of my future videos is going to be going through an oncology protocol. If there are other videos you'd like me to put out, please list them down in the comments. Thank you for watching. Please smash that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for your support, and thank you for watching.